You've talked about how you are acting in and directing plays and operas like such as Peer Gynt, and I just wondered if you could comment on, I keep hearing that musical theater and things like that are on the decline, and I am interested in writing musical theater, and I just wondered if there was still a market for it.
Well, I can't really tell you that. You know, the issue is what is there a market for? Believe me, the things that I'm interested in, there hasn't been a market for in years. So, if you write for what there's a market for, you will probably be certainly more successful than if you write for what actually interests you. But I think that writing for what interests you is in the end more rewarding, and you don't have to go around trying to figure out what somebody else wants. As opposed to whether things are musicals or in or out, I don't know. I don't follow that stuff at all. My wife says to me, "You are the worst person to gossip with. You don't know anything. You don't remember anything." You know, she'll say, "Oh, so-and-so is doing it." Who's that? You know, oftentimes she'll say, "You worked with him." You know, my name is, I'm going to please. Okay. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your Stargate experience? What it was like when you were like Christopher Judge?
Who? My Stargate experience was nice, but it was nice for a different reason than you might have thought it was nice. I did not have a character on the page that sort of really weighty character that huge. So it was just, you know, I was coming into the show, which I didn't know. And I was there, though the nice part of it is that I was there because I had done shows. And that was a very successful show to the extent that we all loved the writing and we loved the story, which was legend. So I was there, yeah, so a few of you saw it too. I was there sort of for nostalgic reasons. And in that respect, I appreciated it. In terms of the story and who the other people were, I really can't.
Are there going to be any more Alien Voices productions?
No. Leonard and I put together Alien Voices. I sort of had this ulterior motive. I directed War of the Worlds, the Howard Koch version of War of the Worlds. I put together primarily a Star Trek cast, and then I went to Leonard afterwards and I said, "Did you have a good time doing this?" And he said, "I had a great time." And I said, "Well, you know, we could create a company, and let's call it Alien Voices." And we had a lot of shows. I mean, we did 6 or 7 audio shows and 3 TV specials and a lot of live shows and what have you. But it got to the point, like any company, after the blush is a little bit off the rose, it really gets into selling. And I'm not that interested in selling. I think it requires a completely different personality than myself. And those people, I have great respect for them. By and large, they don't know how to do what I do, and I don't know how to do what they do. And the two of us sort of looked at each other one day and went, "No, it's been a great 4 years." Yes?
I liked your son's character in Voyager. Is he going to play anything else?
Is my character going to play anything else on Voyager? Oh, my son. Oh, my son. No, that son is actually working to be in the diplomatic corps. I just went to see him in Syria. He speaks Arabic brilliantly. I mean, really brilliantly. And he's finishing up college. He sings as well. He was with a cappella group at UNC Chapel Hill, and they ended up going to Lincoln Center to their first time out for the regional or the national finals or what have you. But by and large, his trajectory in life has to do with politics in the Middle East and Arabic and that type of stuff.
Hi, I know that you've worked on Days of Our Lives, and I enjoyed your performance there, and I enjoy your performance in your science fiction works as well. And I've noticed there's a lot of crossover between actors that play in soap operas and in science fiction. I wonder if you have anything to say about that, and if you want to compare the experiences.
Well, my experience on the soap opera perhaps might have been different than, let me rephrase that. My experience on the soap opera was different than almost any other actor. I came in at a time in Days of Our Lives. I got hired to play a psycho. 5 days, didn't audition, 1980. I looked at the show and I went, what they want is a psycho, what they need is a comedian. Okay? 5 days later, when I left to go out to the parking lot, as far as I was concerned, that was the end. People rushed out, the producers rushed out, and they said, we have to bring you back. I had a great time. The producer of that show, Al Raven, must have been, I know he was a cut-up in high school. He was just as naughty as I was in high school. So he permitted and he encouraged, and there were a number of us on that show at the time. In 1980, people weren't fearful for their jobs. There was a sense of flushness, but there was a sense of a big stance. Not to be misunderstood as a wide stance. So there was a real sort of wonderful sort of bravado about everything. Tremendous amount of improvising, tremendous amount of sort of sending up the soap and what have you. And I think it was a period of time that those people who might have watched the soap back then think of it, at least this is what I hear when they come up to me in airports or at conventions, they see it. Those were the great times on that show. That time is finished. It's over. Everyone in the industry, sort of in America, is running a little scared. Things have tightened down a lot. So I had a wonderful time doing that. It's very, very different than shooting Star Trek. I had a wonderful time shooting Star Trek, but it was much more of a, this is what's written, this is what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. The other one was loosey-goosey and, big improv stuff. And I don't think that I would go back to the show because I have a feeling that you can't go back. I certainly would not go back, but I hear that some of the older characters are going back. I would not go back to recreate the role. That's always a mistake. You cannot go back to recreate. But I would go back through because of nostalgic reasons, because I had had such a good time with those people. Next.